Okay, let's see if I can get back to this again. Okay, so if you're, if you, your crown chakra is open, I think it just is like open. Like it just feels like you're open to information. I don't know. You know, I guess we're all going to perceive things the way we perceive them, and everybody's going to perceive things differently. But that's how I feel. I feel like it's just open, and you know, there's a lot of communication going on all the time, and and there's a lot of entities out there that want to communicate, and you know, especially to humanity. I feel like, you know, there's a lot of communication coming in. So yeah, when you're, to me, like I lay down to go to sleep, and you know, it's just like, and the stuff is fascinating. I mean, there's plenty of times it's like I'll get up and start writing it down and stuff. It's super fascinating, but I usually have to tell him, you know, oh, I gotta go to bed. And but a lot of times, you know, I'll just go in and I'll go to sleep and I'll just conk out immediately. But it's 3 o'clock in the morning. Then it's like you just get woke up to just like communication and downloads or whatever. People call it different things. To me, it's just communication. It's them giving you insights and deeper understanding. It's like you tap into this energy that is, you know, is there for us to expand, you know, to learn from. So it is, you know, there's a lot of it. And so yeah, 3 o'clock in the morning, yeah, woke up a lot of times, but now it's been days and days where I just feel like, where I wake up in the morning and I'll wake up early and I'll lay there and try and go back to sleep. And it's like, I'm not that tired to go to sleep. I can't get back to sleep at all, but I feel tired. I feel like exhausted. My eyes are such a weak spot anyways. But yeah, my eyes are, oh, they're really killing me. And every time I lay down and try and go to sleep, then something will happen. Every time. It's like, I don't know. And if I do just go right to sleep immediately, it's like I go to another place. It's weird. It's like I'm not even there. It's very active. And that's why I keep thinking that's got to be what's going on while I'm asleep at night. But if I, and that's another thing too that keep me really drowsy or out of it, is when I go into like, you know, somebody would call it a deep sleep or something, where it feels like your consciousness leaves. You're in this, you're in another place, you know, and some people could call it dreams, but you know, you're in this other reality. And when I get woke up during that, then I really feel out of it. I feel just like so out of it. And that's how I keep feeling too. So I don't know what's going on. I know that there's things happening, you know, transitions that are going on with the planet. And I can't believe how many people now I've seen showing where the sky is different. Like there's new planets and stuff. And, you know, I found that interesting yesterday when I had heard somebody saying about, you know, the planet's already in motion, you know, it's already moving. Because things are weird. Like things are weird. You know, in my car now, breaking down. And then this weird stuff to try and start it. Then it wouldn't start. And then it just stayed on. It wouldn't go off. Now it's holding on to the key. It won't let the key out. It won't let me unlock the doors. I don't know. It's like the electronics have got a mind of their own and they're doing their own thing. The power went out the other day. My Roku broke. So I got out the old one. And in that one, it just changes channels, does what it wants. So I don't know. It's like that. Something was going crazy around these parts. Plus these big old, I'm assuming military planes, because of the sound of them, you know. And we never had, we're not anywhere by an airport, you know. So we never have air traffic over here where I was before, until all this stuff started happening. Then it started being, but before, you know, because it was, when I first moved in, it was March of 2019. And then I was going out riding my bike all the time and, you know, kind of getting to know the area and stuff. And there was a couple times I saw craft. And it was you know, so obvious. You can tell, like it's, you know, unless it's our own military tricking us. And I live over in a place where they get spotted a lot because I'm in the mountains. So I saw those a couple times, and that was cool. And then after that, then the weird stuff started happening about, you know, being locked in, you know, becoming a prisoner. And then after that, there was some weird stuff because I'm in a slave state. And and I'm right at the border of Canada and right at the coast of the Pacific. So I'm like right up in this little corner, like Vancouver is kind of just like diagonal, kind of for me. I would say it is. I don't know. It's hard to say, but I'm over in the mountains, over where you would go to go skiing. In Seattle, it would be over here, and then Bellingham up here, and then you'd cross over to go across the border, and then there's Vancouver, and I'm like right up at the border. But so there was some weird stuff. Like one day I went out to go drive somewhere, and this was, I would say, you know, we got locked in March, I think, or the beginning of April. I remember because I had tickets. It was the weirdest thing. I was going to go see, Jim Carrey was doing his book tour, and he was going to be in our town. So I called, and, you know, it said something on Twitter about it. And so I called, just happened to call this one day, and the tickets were on sale right then. And I got front row, right in the middle seat. And so I was really looking forward to that. And then quarantine happened right. It was like a month before the tickets, I think. And they said it was going to be 2 weeks. And then it went to, no, it was going to be longer. And then that got canceled and all that stuff. So that date of that tour, it was like a month before that, that we got locked down. And so then it was about a month or so later, because it was still early on, and this weird thing happened. I was leaving, driving down the road, and there was just police everywhere. And you live out in a rural community, you sometimes don't see any cops for a long, long, long time. Long time. And they don't even like to be called. Last time I called them on the neighbor that was threatening me, I got a ticket. So, yeah, I don't want to mess with you. So, I was driving in a state highway 542, and there was just cops everywhere, you know, blocked off on every exit route. And so I was like, oh man, weird. What the hell's going on? I mean, there's something going on. And so automatically you're thinking like, oh, it must be like a meth lab or something like that. What would be out here? So that was before I knew about all of the traffic isn't just in the big cities. You know, I didn't know about all that at that point. You know, that's the stuff we got to learn during 2020 for some of us. You know, there was always the people who were telling us that, you know, it was a lot to wrap your head around some of the stuff, I guess, because it's, you know, this awakening process is something. So then I went home or whatever, you know, and so, you know, everybody's talking about it, and they're reporting on it. I think it was on Facebook, but there was a lot of people sharing about it because next door, which, you know, I already got kicked off of that because, I think you're not Gestapo headquarters there. And so I went, I was talking to the neighbor, and she was on the Facebook. And so they were saying that they had a U-Haul truck that somebody had stolen, and they had chased him. All these cops had chased him and had him cornered in a field, kind of close to the school. I think it was, not close to, it wouldn't have been during school. It was during quarantine anyways. So it wouldn't have had anything to do with any of that. So they chased him into a field, and they had him surrounded and stuff, which, you know, you don't even know the real story anyways. They could say whatever the hell they want. But if that was a real story, I was like, okay, if this guy's running with a U-Haul, don't even freaking tell me it's just an empty U-Haul. It's got this many cops and stuff. No, there's something going on. And but there's been stuff going on all the time. But that is when I started seeing like the military helicopters and started seeing like planes going over and stuff. It was around that time. But now it is almost like it's a certain time, like they're doing some sort of, I don't know, since I'm at the border and we're in the middle of this, situation. I kind of feel like it's monitoring, like they're monitoring the area for anyone invading or any suspicious things going on. My one friend who has a little farm, she said sometimes when she's outside, this helicopter's been coming down. It's a black military, you can tell. And it's been coming down super, super low and then going over and watching, you can't do that right over where I am at because I'm right in the trees. But she was more open a little bit, like the forest. A lot of people cut down their trees, but the farms and stuff, hers is a little farm. Usually you have to go down the mountain some and go towards the farmland. Then they are kind of out in the valleys. Then there's tons of farms out there. And, that's where I would go to get food when it starts hitting home what's going on around these places. We're still kind of waiting. And it's so crazy, too, because there's so many people with so many ideas. And so many ideas sound super valid that it's like, man, there is no telling what's about to happen. The one I heard now is that they are pushing the people out from the cities. This is kind of a sci-fi horror movie. Pushing the people out from the cities to get them into the rural communities. And then whatever's going to happen, like whatever that was, why these lights and glow in the dark, I don't even know the sci-fi shit that is actually going on. I don't even want to know. But yeah, if there's some sort of really way to, take over their minds and make them into zombies, I don't know what all this, talk about the zombie apocalypse. They've definitely been trying to prepare us for zombie apocalypse for a really long time. But, that's another way for them to take out a lot of people, is us fighting each other, because they made these other people not be able to think straight. And so then, to, have this big purge, just think about the stuff that they put in. I mean, there's so many people now. Like, I saw Soylent Green when I was young. I swear, I think I was like 10 or something when I saw like 2001 Odyssey and Soylent Green and stuff. There was like a little bit of sci-fi, but I liked like Frankenstein and Dracula and stuff like that, those scary monster kind of movies. I wasn't really into sci-fi so much, but I loved the Twilight Zone. But he didn't do it so much, like he was like that guy. He was teaching things that there is still people who just don't get it, But he was really good for those of us who watched him. He made you think about things. He made you see things and look at things in a different perspective. And, he was very eye-opening for your psyche. And so then Soylent Green and 2001 Space Odyssey and stuff, like I thought we would have already been super high-tech, and we should have been. They, held us back from that on purpose. But the Soylent Green traumatized me. Oh my God, that movie traumatized me. I don't even remember the whole movie. I just remember when they found out that they were really eating humans. It was kind of like the Twilight Zone book where the guy's yelling. He figured out what it is. It's a recipe book because they were eating us. So, all of those things about the eating people kind of stuff always, really bothered me. But now there's people who are starting to see, like, they are actually gelling people and spraying them on the crops and stuff. Like, they told us all that long time ago that was the plan. So I pay attention to the plans. I mean, a lot of people just think it's entertainment. It's movies. Well, that doesn't mean anything. It's just a movie. Don't think movies are real. If it's in a movie, it's damn real. So you better, I don't understand how people think like, oh yeah, it's just this really high-tech stuff in movies. They can think of it and make it up for movies, but they can't really do it. Well, they can really do it, and then that's how that ends up being made into movies. So the how far advanced we are is way beyond what people can even imagine. And that's why they can't wrap their head around the whole thing with transhumanism and what the agenda is and what's going on. Like, they can't even comprehend it. It sounds so ridiculous and ludicrous. Well, I grew up with them telling us how things were going to be, and they keep their promises, So, Westworld, watch Westworld. Avatar, I think, there's people that just, they don't seem to get that they are an essence. They are something separate from their body. And when beings are advanced enough to be able to, we're created a long time ago. These people are so far advanced. I don't get how, they're taught limitations. They're handed a scope at birth. But, it's by their parents. Everybody got the scope. And then you hold that scope up and you look at life and you see just what they tell you is in the scope. And that's how you design everything in your whole life, is what you're told through this little scope. And becoming consciously aware is putting the scope down and to stand back and start looking for yourself. Start seeing the world with your eyes. Start relating to the world. Start understanding, the whole, what's going on here. Because it changes completely. But they're able to create programming and propaganda and stuff with this scope because they have control of your vision. And we have a world that is created to cause us pain because, they've got the solution. And so many people have surrendered to, big pharma and stuff. Like, I don't need to take care of myself. There's pills for that, it's just a surrender of, taking care of yourself. But it's not like they're trained to do that because their vision is through this scope. And the scope is very limiting. And it's kind of, they use bully kind of techniques to keep you in line so you don't look outside the scope. Don't think for yourself. Don't think for yourself. They don't like that. If you think outside of the scope, outside of the box, if you think outside, you're ridiculed and put down, bullied. And, I've been through it. I know. You can't think outside of the box. People don't like it. Everybody wants you to be like, hey, no, remember the scope. Get in the scope. I was like, no, that's limiting. I want to see for myself. And, yeah. But, right now, we've got so many conscious, they're relying on this scope. They can't even, they're like, oh, quit talking crazy talk. I'm just looking in the scope. And this is what I see. And that means you're this and you're this and you're this. And it's like, okay, well, you're proving the point right there. You've got limiting beliefs. You're labeling. You are following the programming. When you can put down the scope, you can step back and start to think for yourself. You start using logic and critical thinking. And then you get a new view. You get a new view of yourself. You get a new view of the world. And, for yourself, it's so you get an opportunity to heal and to grow. But, there's so many people who are just stuck looking through that scope and arguing about it. And another thing, too, is that there's so many people, and, they've used Jesus and religion and God as a weapon, against other people. They're better than them. They've got God and Jesus, and they're holy and holier than thou. That whole concept, using that as a weapon towards other people. Well, that defeats the whole purpose, right? Isn't God about unity and love and forgiveness? So then you are a hypocrite, right? Because you're using something that is based for love, and only you're using it to attack somebody. So you're defeating the purpose of what it is. It's like walk the walk. And but there's so many people who believe what they're told, and they have forgotten how to think for themselves. It's been part of the whole structure, what they've been doing on purpose, take down the tribe, get rid of that, educate, reprogram, and civilize these people. And then, let's just program them and get them to, forget about their soul. Let's beat that down so much. Let's just create a depraved society that is, where you can murder and get away with it, and you can hurt people and commit crimes, and it's just a sick, depraved world, so that everybody is hopeless and helpless, need medication, live in fear, live on the edge of their seats, always in fight or flight. So, which so many are just, I think that they just are compliant because they just want it to end. They don't want to have all this fear. It's overwhelming. It's overwhelming to someone's psyche, And, there's people who are willing to kill themselves to get out of this treachery. But, it's us that has to change it. It's us to put down the scope and to start looking around and start realizing what's going on. Because, their next step was this detachment from, they create this completely shallow society that worships and idolizes, like the false idol thing. It just makes so much sense. But they worship just very three-dimensional things, money, looks, what they can have, what these little supercharges that make you feel good for a couple minutes, right? So, and, this, don't worry about your health. We got you on this. Well, when you get everybody to kind of have those kind of morals, or, a society is born that produces that kind of world. When I see people who are saying they're fighting for the rights of kids to all be hormone blocked, what? Like, how do you think mankind survives? How do you think? It's like, but they have got these people just so trapped by the propaganda that they can't see through it. It's so much nonsense. It's mind-boggling. But so the next step is, you can have this beautiful synthetic body, no pain, you don't have to diet, you don't have to worry about any of that stuff. Oh my gosh, I swear to God, half the people would be like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll sign me up. I'm going to design mine. And, to have these shallow, three-dimensional things, that they would give up their soul, but they don't even realize they have one, because that has been, taken down little by little by little. So, yeah, they go and take their essence, put it in this synthetic being, and then they're trapped. They're controlled. And they don't even think themselves through it. And then they can't even imagine that could be possible, But look they don't even imagine genocide as possible by your own government, even though the government has been doing it to the people throughout history. They still can't imagine it. So, technology is that advanced, and people have gotten to the point of being there, ethically. They have been tearing that down throughout, I don't even know all the ways. I don't know. Video games, movies, broken relationships, just taking the humanity out of humans, which now they're even changing those words. So we were headed right to there. And there's so many people that would just so willingly go in there and not even consider they can't get out. You think you're going to go in there because you're scared to die. Well, let's see how long you're in there before you're wishing for death. When your body, how many of them are going to pick a hot girl? What do you think is going to happen when you're a hot girl? and you are a robot, slave for other people. I mean, just all you gotta do is watch Westworld, and you know, they show you, they disclose all the time the plan. They put the plan out there all the time. They don't hide it. It's always right there. It's just that, you know, they don't like us to live this long, so that we can tell you, hey, you know, they're following through. This is not. It just reminds me so much, Twilight Zone, you know, just of. It's a cookbook. That's what I feel like you're trying to tell people. And they're just like, oh, be quiet. God, you're crazy. We're talking crazy talk. Like, I don't know. All I can say is, it's, you know, if you don't put down the scope, then you become the target. So, you know, I can only advise you to put down the scope and start looking at the world, you know, through your own eyes, not through the eyes, the scope that was prepared for you. So I'll talk to you later. Bye.